Well, it is good to be here this evening. As I mentioned, my name's Kent Hovind, has been for quite a while. I was a high school science teacher 15 years, and now talk about creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. If this is the only session you're getting to see, you've already missed a whole bunch of material. We've talked about in the first couple of sessions, and you can get all my stuff on videotape. Talked about the age of the Earth. You know, the Bible teaches the Earth is only about 6,000 years old. The evolution view says it's billions of years old. Somebody is wrong. And the Bible would indicate that dinosaurs lived with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. They were just part of the normal creation. And so for the first 1,600 years of human history, things were very different before the flood came. Things were huge. We cover all that on videotape. And number one, about why the people used to live to be 900 and all this kind of thing, and how dinosaurs fit in. But tonight I want to share with you, Satan started this lie that man can become like God. And it's a lie, and that's really evolution in a nutshell. Ye shall be as gods. That's where the whole idea got started. It started with Satan. It didn't start with Charlie Darwin. It started with the devil. Actually, he's the one who wants to be God. Lucifer wants to be God. Isaiah 14, Lucifer said, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. See, the devil wants to be God, but the job is not available. So he's all upset about that. And he can't be God. So he's mad at God. Satan said, I want to be like the Most High. And he started a rebellion against God about 6,000 years ago. And we could trace the history of this long war against God. Satan comes and disguises himself like an angel of light. I'm here to help you. Eve, how would you like me to show you how you can become like God? God's hiding something from you, Eve. He knows that if you eat the tree, off that tree, you can become like God. Satan lied to her, and she fell for it. Adam came along and realized what she'd done, and Adam voluntarily became sin to save Eve, just like Christ voluntarily became sin to save us. He knew what he was doing. Adam knew what he was doing. Eve was deceived, it tells us in 1 Timothy. Adam wasn't deceived. But Satan disguises himself like a messenger of light. Hey, I'm here to help you, Eve. I think Satan is using this evolution philosophy to lead millions to hell. See, evolution is not science. It's a philosophy. It's a way of life. The Bible warned us, a way of looking at life. The Bible warned us in Colossians chapter 2 to beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. You see, what you believe determines how you behave. Your philosophy is extremely important. And there's only two choices. Either there is a God or there isn't. If there is a God, we better find out who he is and what he wants and do what he says. If there is no God, then how do you decide what's right and wrong? If evolution is true, only the strongest have a right to survive. The weakest should be eliminated. Don't you pull the weeds out of your garden? If you believe in evolution, maybe these weaker, inferior humans should be eliminated. Ah, I see where that would lead in a short time. There are no absolutes about right and wrong. Professors sometimes say that when I do debates at universities. They'll say, there are no absolutes. I say, are you absolutely sure? I spoke at a public school in Pennsylvania. The auditorium would only hold 300. We had 900 kids, so they brought them in 3 shifts for me. One of the groups came in. A kid sat on the second row, a senior at the high school. He said, Mr. Hovind, I'm an atheist. I said, really? He said, yep, there is no God. I said, well, let me ask you a question, son. Do you know everything? He said, well, no, of course not. I said, well, do you know half of everything? He said, well, no. I said, okay, well, let's pretend that you know half of everything. Is it possible that God exists in the other half you don't know? Brand new thought. I said, by the way, son, if you're an atheist, let me ask you a question. How do you decide what's right and wrong? He said, oh, that's easy. I decide if it's right or wrong. He said, I'm the God of my own universe. I said, boy, I'm glad to hear that, because I'm going to shoot you in 5 minutes. He said, you can't do that. I said, yeah, I can. I'm the God of my own universe. I decided it's fine. Charles Darwin wrote this book. It's right here. The Origin of Species, 1859. Now, that wasn't the whole title to the book. I'll show you the whole title in just a minute. Back in those days, they had long titles on their book. But they call it The Origin of Species. Now, hold it. What is a species? You know, he never does talk about the origin of species in The Origin of Species. He never does talk about it. The Bible never says they bring forth after their species. The Bible says they bring forth after their kind, right? Now, what is a kind? Well, I would say a wolf and a dog are the same kind of animal. I mean, stand back and look at it. It's not a turtle, okay? A horse and a zebra are the same kind of animal. Now, they may not be the same species, but they're the same kind. And we've never seen an animal bring forth something other than the same kind. Never seen that. But the textbooks talk about the speciation as if this is part of evolution. There was a vocabulary breakdown back in the 1800s when Darwin's book came out. They were looking for the origin of species. God never said anything about that. The origin of their kinds. Bees may be different species of monkeys, but they're the same kind of animal. And noticing that just because man has classified them as different species does not mean God classified them as different kinds. And it might be that each of these came from a common ancestor. I wouldn't argue about that. But it's still the same kind of animal. That doesn't prove we all came from a rock, does it?